Colin Thompson is with us live on the set. Now, Colin has been in some NFL camps, the Bears and the Giants. He played at Temple, Florida, transferred from Florida to Temple, played in the AAF. He's now part of the Temple Football Radio Network, and he lives in Cape May for the summertime. So it was cool that we were able to cross paths because we've been talking a lot, Colin, over the last 2 weeks with the preseason and the necessity for these games anymore. And it seems that some people believe that they've kind of outlived their necessity, that the coaches know who they want already. You're not seeing – look, the Eagles, if you're just reading Doug Peterson and the Eagles, his message is kind of these games don't matter a whole heck of a lot to us. It seems like Thursday night, the third game, which used to be the one that a lot of guys are not going to play. So you're a guy who's been in these camps that these games were very vital to. So what is your kind of – as you're watching the preseason now unfold, are you watching it and seeing that it's kind of evolving, changing? What is your take on the preseason?
Well, first, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. Mike and Ryan, and love your show and big fan and love being down here and talking about you guys with all the locals. They love the show as well. So we'll talk about, I guess, my involvement with preseason later because as an undrafted guy, you have to do everything right. Practice, eat right, shake hands with everybody. You have to perform at a high level on and off the field at all times. But
now you were in the Bears?
I was with undrafted with the Giants in 17. And then I went to the Bears halfway through that year. Had emergency appendectomy with the Giants, got cut. Week 8, I went to John Fox's last year. I went to the Bears practice squad there for 8 weeks. Then I got signed to an off-season contract. I was there all the way through training camp with Matt Nagy. So I got to be a part of be a part of a disciple of Andy Reid, which I thought was really cool. I got to hang out with Coach Childress every day and have breakfast with him or lunch with him, so that was unique. I got to ask about the TO stories. I got to ask about all the stuff the craziness that went on in Philly when he was there, so that was cool. But I guess I'll go back to really my point with the whole preseason thing is it's the only developmental league the NFL has. And it's not arena, right, obviously. It's not XFL or AAF, obviously. This is the best of the best that are available.
You played in the AAF.
Correct.
And you've been in
a ton of talent.
Have you played any preseason games?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Different?
I played in 5.
From an AAF game to a preseason game?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure, right? But
in what way?
You're used to it in practice. When you're just up to the tempo. You play to the tempo. I mean, I don't want to say you play down to people, but you play to the tempo of the situation. But I'll go back to what I'm saying about the developmental league, right? Mm-hmm. There's 90 guys on a roster to start training camp. It drops to 53. To give an example to everyone listening, you don't play the games with 53 guys. You play with 46. So take out the offensive line, take out the quarterbacks, punter, and kickers out. You have like 35 guys, maybe 30, that are going to play on special teams. That's the most important thing. That is a huge part. The fans, not intriguing. Not intriguing, right? We care about Carson Wentz, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, the new weapons, the new toys for Carson and the defense and what they're going to bring this year. But really, the third phase of the game, which is so important, if you're in the top 5 in special teams of the NFL, you're usually in the playoffs. So this is where the league develops players because you can't wear pads year-round now. You used to be able to hit and march. I remember Mark Sanchez telling me stories about when he was with the Jets with Rex Ryan, and he was getting his butt whooped in practice by Bart Scott and getting chased all around the field, and it's April. Now we're in underwear, we call it. We're in shorts and T-shirts out in the field catching balls. To me, you can't really develop players. You can't develop quarterbacks. And earlier, right, McMullen's on saying, it's really important, to have a great backup quarterback, and there's really only 5 or 6 really legit backups. Well, how else do you develop them? Preseason football. So to me, it's the developmental league for the NFL. It's too important. Ask a guy like Trey Burton, who I play with at Florida, who went undrafted to the Eagles with Chip Kelly, who was the last man on the roster and played all 4 preseason games. He said he played every snap on special teams. He got all that film. He makes the final, like I said, the final guy on that Eagles roster, Chip's first year. Somebody runs down on kickoff, breaks their collarbone in the first play. Trey plays on special teams that entire year, leads the team in tackles, whatever it was, and then boom. He's throwing a touchdown in the Super Bowl, second contract with the Bears.
One of the things that McMullen has brought up is that, yes, they're meaningful for that situation.
Yep.
But that the coaches are valuing the practices and the controlled atmosphere now more than those games. Like the kid, Deshaun Hall.
That's fair.
mean, this guy's got 3 sacks, 4 tackles for losses. I mean, yada, yada. If he doesn't make the team, it's like, what more can I do in a game setting to prove that I belong? And the answer is we did it against third and fourth guys on the other side. Right.
I understand that. I think there is a valid point to both sides. I just think for the integrity of the NFL, developing all of the players, the 4 preseason games are important. Now, are they going to have 4? Are they going to have 2? Are there going to be group practices, which they do now, which we did in Chicago? We practiced against Denver, which was rough. We went to Denver, going into the altitude. You're playing against their front 7. That's very good. You're facing Von Miller and Chubb and Wolf and all these guys. So I do like the group practice. There is a lot of value in that, but I'll never forget it. I'm at Temple. Our center, Kyle Friend, he went undrafted to the Jets, a great player. He's been all around the NFL. And he pretty much says to me, like, the games matter so much. You have to perform at such a high level. Really, every day matters. You have to go every day and compete and make plays, really, on a consistent basis. But I think there is an emphasis on the games. And here's something a lot of people don't understand. Every scout, there's pro scouts and there's college scouts. Obviously, the college scouts, that's self-explanatory. The pro scouts, they watch film of every single player in the league. I'm with the tight end pro scout with the Bears. He's got to break down every single tight end in the NFL and give a grade for them, and then have a list. It's called the short list. I'm on the short list right now with probably 5 teams. Someone gets hurt, there's a workout. If those 5 guys are in, they bring the guy in. Yeah. He's in. He replaces, right? The Eagles have an injury at tight end today. Well, who's on their short list? We'll find out at the workout they probably have tomorrow or the next day. So the development of the league, John's argument was, well, everyone's keeping tabs. Well, how do you keep tabs of players without the preseason games? That's my question.
So you can really only keep tabs of players if they're veterans.
Or they're in your building. That's it. How do you evaluate other players?
Well, is it just relationships and networking throughout the league?
It's a great point. I heard you say that earlier, and I'm sorry, but it's so funny. Everywhere I've been, the coaches say you got to play for all 32 teams. Chicago said it. McAdoo said it in the Giants. Guys, you may not make this roster, but we promise you we'll help you make another one. They say that. Does it happen? I don't know.
Yeah. But, I do think that it's unfair for people like us to just say these games don't matter because you're right. We're only saying it doesn't matter for the starters.
Half the league's undrafted.
So we certainly, and I've said, I think 2 games is fair because here's my point. In the past, there used to be 4 games. The starters would play maybe a series or 2.
Yep.
Then the second game they might play a quarter. And then the third game they play 3 quarters. And then the fourth game they didn't play at all. Well, now that has been scaled back to where all these guys fighting for jobs are now getting 4 almost full games.
Yep.
And it's like, is that really – I guess it's great for someone like you.
We had 5 last year, the Hall of Fame game in Chicago, and I was
like,
oh.
Wow, that's nice, though.
It was nice. It was, right.
It's great for someone like you that's trying to fight and get tape out there.
It's great.
But it's like, how much are the coaches using those games now to put together their 53-man roster is really the question.
I think it puts together a 53 and it puts together another 40 guys in the back of their minds. It's not about the coaches, too. The coaches don't make the personnel decisions. I'll be honest with you. Very few do. The scouts make the decisions. I've been in workouts with 5 different NFL teams. 2 of the workouts, there was actual position coach there. The head coach is not even at the workout. The scouts pick the players. The coaches coach the players. For the most part, right? Coaches that may have say and this and that, and here's what I suggest, and here's my grade on this guy in college. But the common misconception is, Doug Peterson. No, it's Howie. It's their scouting department. It's X, Y, and Z that puts that roster together. So I get it. There's a huge sample size of the four games.
Yeah.
It matters to half the league because half the league's undrafted. And honestly, your shot is based off where you're taken. If you're a 4th or 5th round pick, I remember last year I was grading out pretty high on the special teams for the Bears, but I was dropping on the depth chart every week. 4th and 5th round pick linebackers were coming right in front of me. And I was like, wow, I'm playing better than them. I'm not making mental mistakes. I'm doing my job. I'm playing with effort. I'm being physical. But it doesn't even matter because the 4th and 5th round pick, he's making the roster.
That's exact. I'm glad you said that because I wrote this down 30 seconds before you said that. And I want to ask you, so if you're a guy that's 3rd string, 4th string, trying to find your way onto the depth chart, and you just made a lot of great, valid points regarding special teams. Mm-hmm. So someone like you or anyone in that type of situation, what's more important? Is it your offensive snaps in the 4th quarter of preseason game number 1, or is it every special team opportunity? Because in reality, special teams is where you can say, all right, this is how I can make the team, being on special teams. But you're still a tight end. You still want to do well, obviously, with the 2nd or 3rd string offense. Where does your focus lie with that?
Your focus is everywhere.
Yeah.
You are spread so thin, to be honest, especially as an undrafted player. You know where your bread's going to be buttered, and that's on special teams. You know that's where it is. You have to turn up the volume. You may have 2.5-hour practice in the last 30 minutes of special teams. You're exhausted, but you have to go. And you have to go against some great players that have been playing special teams in this league for a long time. It is not easy. It is a huge part of the game that is not talked about enough, and I understand why it's not talked about.
Do you think the players then would be upset if they got rid of if they got rid of 2 games? Or
I think everyone with their feet set in the league will be happy, right? Because it's less time in camp or whatever it is. Also, it's less people nipping at their ankles.
Right.
I mean, it's a great go back to what you're saying, Ryan. Where's your focus? Like I said, it's everywhere. But you want to get better in everything you do. But I think offensively, when you're in that moment of tight end, you're like, I want to compete against these tight ends. I think I can play with them.
Of course.
Then you're like, oh man, the special teams wise, like, right, linebackers and defensive bodies are.
But then
more,
it's frustrating.
yeah.
Where I would say before, like, I don't know what your preseason stats have ever been. If you ever have a game,
a couple catches,
5
crazy.
catches for 85 yards and a touchdown, and you're like, what more can I do to show that I belong? I went out there and had 5 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown, and they still got rid of me.
And
it's like, how much did this game matter?
Yeah. You could have missed 3 blocks, right? Like, quarterback could have got killed.
Right.
Right. Like they could spin it how they wanted,
It could be spun anyway. It doesn't matter. You just need to splash in the pan. You are auditioning for all 32 teams. You're not just auditioning for your team.
Yes.
And that's a common misconception. When the coaches tell you when you're there in the beginning of training camp, guys, when you go on this field, you represent yourself. You're in an Eagles uniform. You're in a Titans uniform. You're with the Bears. But you perform for all 32 because the pro scouts, they're watching your film. Yeah, that film follows you your entire career.
Now, you do the Business of Sports podcast. So that's a big reason why many people think these games aren't going to budge is because of the revenue that is generated. But that's kind of, it stinks to think that the only reason they're giving me this opportunity is because they're making money off of it.
Yeah, I don't think of it that way. McMullen said that too in a tweet. He's like, I feel players must feel used to fill seeds.
Well, he mentioned that
guys,
the players are crash test dummies for the players they don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, sure, but you're getting that opportunity. Right? You're getting the opportunity of your life. Well, this is an investment. You invested your whole life, your family's sacrifice. This is beyond just, hey, I'm here to play. This is a culmination. That when you're out on that field, there's a village behind you that took you there, no matter how skilled you are or no matter how fortunate you were. So, no, it's great points. It's interesting. The business of sports stuff, too. It's one thing I can mention. There's a lot more guaranteed money in the NFL now than ever. Yeah. So these players, you can't justify as an owner, I'm going to put my $17 million guaranteed quarterback out in the field, or my Zach Ertz tight end who's guaranteed X, or Lane Johnson who's guaranteed Y, because that money doesn't outweigh the risk. Like, okay, you're right, the same amount of risk in any game. You guys talked about this today. But I can justify him getting hurt in week 9, but I can't justify him getting hurt in week 1 or 2 of the preseason.
Right.
There's more guaranteed money in the NFL now than ever.
Have you ever seen someone win a job in a preseason game?
Yes.
Mike asked you 5 for 85. You bring up the Trey Burton, which is a great example, but I'm going to be like a party pooper with it and just say, well, there was an injury associated with that story. Like, have you ever seen a story
on the active roster?
Okay,
he got
fair.
Week 1, the active roster guy ran down. He said, got hurt on kickoff. Trey was in, never looked back.
Right, so that was already after he made it, so I guess that's a little bit different. You're right. But, yeah, have you ever seen another example where someone, week 3 preseason, he won his way onto a team?
I think it's a culmination of practice and games.
Or more specifically, that 4th game.
Oh, that's crazy. It's bedlam. It's like a gladiator.
Right, where they don't play anybody, and it's like, there's a 5th-string guy getting snaps at quarterback.
Here's another thing. That 4th preseason game is like a war zone. And here's kind of the dirty side of it. Guys are playing full speed, and it's crazy. But if you get hurt in that game, you may not make the NFL roster. Now, guys aren't going out there to try to get hurt, but you have nothing to lose. Nothing. If you get hurt, you're not making that roster. They're cutting you a paycheck, workman's comp, and you're cut.
Yeah.
But you just made $100,000, $250,000. Happens all the time. It's not talked about, and I don't encourage it, right? But it happens. It's crazy. I play with guys with the Giants that never would have made that active roster. Bears that never would have made that active roster. Get hurt in back of that preseason.
And they get paid.
Walk away with a little bit of paycheck. So, hey, it's a business. It's the business of the game. Yeah. And, again, guys aren't out there to get hurt. I want to clarify that. But that is something that happens that is unnoticed, too.
Well, Colin, you're doing the Temple football.
Yeah.
You got your I actually went on
Big year.
The website the other night. I just ordered this shirt in cherry.
You're smart.
Same shirt.
Nice.
I like it. I saw you walk in with that, although you can pull off the white. I can't.
It's going to be a big year for the Owls.
I hope so.
Quarterback's going to be a stud, Anthony Russo. We went to high school together, Archbishop Wood.
Nice.
The guy, he's got a great group around him. They're headed in the right direction. It's going to be a great year working with Harry Donahue and Paul Palmer and those guys doing radio again for the third year.
Colin Thompson is with us, and you'll hear him on the Temple football broadcast this year. You can follow him on Twitter. Now, you have the two Twitter handles, your own and the Business of Sports?
Yeah,
correct?
the business at the Business of SI. Just go to my Twitter at Colin Thompson TU.
Yep.
We got a podcast pair with the Twitter. A couple just fun guests. A bunch of my buddies I've crossed with. Everybody from athletic directors to coaches to players to all different things. We're talking about the business of sports. They tell a little bit about their story, their journey, and then we dive into a few topics.
Now, next week I won't be here. Now, Pete Thompson's filling in. Now, he's listening. He already says, can you stop by next week?
Yes.
When we're going to try to do this segment throughout
Awesome.
the rest of the now, we're actually going to be here all the way through the end of the year now. They've extended us.
Oh,
here.
sweet.
So,
K-May's great year-round town, I will say. My mom has stores in the mall,
Yeah.
Lace Silhouettes and Cotton Company. We're
cool.
here year-round. My dad's in real estate here with the Satnick Realty. So, I mean, we're here pretty much year-round. I try to be here as much as I can here in between Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
Well, so in the preseason, we've had a lot of discussion with this, which I think is very interesting because we always say, look, there used to be 6 preseason games.
Oh.
Then there was 4. And, of course, now people think there should go down to 2.
Yeah.
What is like a preseason moment for you that really stands out? Did you ever have that moment or play or something, that game that you said, man, maybe I caught the attention that I can make one of these rosters?
That's a great question. I think it's a culmination of a couple practices in a row, to be honest with you. It had nothing to do with the game.
Now you're making John's point.
Yeah, I know. You know what?
Take it back, Colin.
No. Yeah, I can't agree with John. But, I didn't play well as I probably wanted to in the games, to be honest with you. I played well, but I didn't play great. There were some plays on special teams that stuck out to me against the Bengals. The one I ran down on punt, beat a guy. I think it was Bengals. Maybe it was the Bills. Beat a guy, made the tackle. I was fired up. It was the last preseason game. I'm like, all right, I got 2 special teams tackles today. That's 2 more than I've had in any other game. So I was kind of fired up for that.
Yeah.
That was a moment. But I think the culmination of a couple practices that I put together that were in camp. The Bears went away for camp. There was a bunch of fans. My phone blew up after from all my family, because they're following on Twitter. You made all these catches. You made all this stuff. I was hyperactive. Tyler Bray and I and Chase Daniel and I had a nice little connection there. I like their group. That's one of the most talented teams in the NFL up there with the Eagles. They're really a great group out there. But, no, it's a great question. I think for me it was a culmination of practice, as much as I don't want to pump McMullen's tires here. But for me it was a culmination of practices, making plays on a consistent basis because it's so hard to do at that level. Guys a tight end would fall out. I would jump in. I got some 1 reps. I think I was the only tight end that made it through every practice there and every game preseason-wise with the Bears last year. So I had a lot of opportunities, and I made the most of them. And shame I haven't been anywhere since, but I'll be somewhere soon.
Colin, you just told us a story about someone making a big pump block, right? And then the team. Now, what year was that, and what team was it? Yeah,
so it's Dan Brown. He's actually with the Jets right now. He's a buddy of mine. We were with Chicago together. Dan was a wide receiver out of JMU.
Okay.
He went to a rookie mini camp, which is they have the draft picks. Say I don't know, 9 guys, 10 guys, whatever it is, and they have about 10 more undrafted guys, and then they have filler. I was filler this year for 2 teams. I was with Detroit and New Orleans. You go in, you compete, you're a camp body. Now you have opportunities to go, and I got on with teams through that. But Dan Brown goes through with the Browns. He ends up doing the rookie minicamp, making the team, goes in the last preseason game and blocks a punt.
Wow.
I think the guy mess assignment, goes out. He smashed the punt. The Ravens had to sign him. They say, hey, listen, we want you to move from receiver to tight end. You got to gain weight. And boom, he's been in the league now for 6 years.
Wow. That's an example of a guy making a team because of a preseason game.
Punt.
Yeah.
Blocked punt.
Crazy.
I once blocked the punt in high school.
They're fun.
It hurt.
Blocked a couple in my backyard.
It hurt, but it hurts more when it goes right through your hands and it goes down the field.
At Colin Thompson to you.